All right, in this video, I'm gonna answer the question, how much cooler space do you need for an elk? And the answer is roughly 200 quarts. And however you wanna package that depends on your situation and what your plan is. One of the go-to methods is, for us anyway, is to have 2 Yeti 75s and then a 65. For ice, what I generally do is have frozen jugs. So I like to have multiple sizes. So we have like a gallon size is great. You can have thin ones. You can have little Gatorade style bottles. Just basically anything that is going to be able to wedge into the cracks of the different, whatever meat situation you're dealing with. I usually take whatever the nicest cooler I have and jam pack that full of ice. So whatever I can fit all of my ice jugs in and just have that cooler full of ice jugs, and I don't touch it until we have meat that we need to cool down. So there'll be like this 65, for instance, would just be straight ice, and I would not touch it until it's time to spread it out amongst all the coolers and cool down all the meat. This is right around 200 quarts. Keep in mind, these numbers don't exactly match quarts. So the 75s are like 70 quarts and the 65 is 56 or 57 quarts. So right around that 200 quart mark, and that will fit boneless meat if you spread it evenly amongst the coolers. If you're gonna go bone in, you're gonna be more limited by length than you are by actual volume. A giant elk quarter will approach 40 inches in length. So this thinking about whatever cooler will fit a 40-inch length quarter. This giant 210 where you can actually get bone-in quarters in there, I can literally fit inside this cooler. I've yet to have the luxury of using it. We're hoping to try it out this fall in Alaska on a caribou hunt. So we'll see, we'll put it to the test. Pretty excited about it. So that is an option if you want to do bone-in quarters. Yeti advertises it as fitting bone-in quarters. If I can at all help it, I don't even put meat in coolers. If it's getting cool at night and I'm getting a good chill on that meat and getting wind on it, I'm gonna go for that over the cooler every time. If it's getting down below even 50 degrees at night and there's a good breeze, I'll let that meat just air hang and dry that way before I put it in coolers. It's when it's approaching like 70 degrees, like consistently, that's when I start to worry about it and think about getting the meat on ice. So just things to keep in mind. Cooler is kind of the last resort when it's really hot out. We also have the luxury of living close to where we're elk hunting, so we don't have to travel super far. And so I understand a lot of people that are traveling to elk hunt are gonna run into more issues in terms of having to keep that meat cooler for longer until they can get to a freezer or refrigerator. Another great option though, if you're traveling, is using a freezer and a generator or stopping at campsites, hotels, wherever you can plug that freezer in. And that's also a great option for long road trips. And again, if you can at all help it, don't even worry about coolers, but it's good to have a contingency plan in case it does heat up. You have that ice, you have it ready to go if you need to put it in coolers. Or like I said, a freezer is a great option. Just a freezer and a way to plug it in. A lot of the newer pickups have plugins in the back where you can just run power straight to that freezer. That's a fantastic option. But anyway, this is just some of the things that we've done in the past. Curious if there's other ideas, if you have a go-to method how you keep your meat cold, put it in the comments below. One last thing I will add, dry ice is a great option if you can find it. It's not always super reliable to have or to be able to find it, but if you go through a town that has dry ice, a grocery store or whatever might have it, fantastic option. We usually just don't always have that opportunity, so having this ice jugs stuck in the cooler for a week just packed together is usually the go-to method. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope this helps answer that question of how much cooler space you need for your elk on your next hunting trip.